Hello all and welcome to today's video. My name is John McFall and I want to welcome you to the McFallRI channel where I teach you how to make $25 to $30 an hour doing food delivery, and I also teach you how to make semi-passive income. Today, I kind of want to talk to you about what you do after you hit that accept button on any of these platforms when you get an order request sent to you and you accept it. Because a lot of people, they talk about what you need to do when you look at the orders that are sent you to make the most money. And I'm going to tell you what you do after you hit that accept button is just as important as what you do before you hit that accept button to make sure you're getting the most money when you're out there. So I kind of want to walk you through what you need to do once you hit that accept button to make sure that you're getting the most money when you are out there doing food delivery. Before we get into the topic, I do want to remind you that down here in my description I have some great tools for you guys. The one I want to talk about first is the metric spreadsheet that I put together. This is an absolutely free download that you guys can get, and I'm going to throw it up here on the screen real quick so you guys can take a quick look at it. If you look at the left hand side, you'll see I always put my start time and my end time. This gives me the total time that I've worked. I also put in the miles, and then if you head to the right, you'll see for each individual app I put the dollars that I've made, the time that I worked, and the number of deliveries. Then head to the bottom and you'll see that it will calculate out what your average dollar per hour, dollar per mile, along with your average per delivery. If you want to know how well you're doing when you're out here doing food delivery, the only way that you can is to keep track of your numbers. So head down into my description and go grab that metric spreadsheet for yourself. And with that, let's get into the topic. So once you hit that accept button, the first thing that's most obvious is you want to go from right where you are to that restaurant to go get the order. You don't want to make any stops. You want to get there as quickly as possible. You don't know if that order is ready before you get there, and the only way that you can is to get there as quickly as you can. This is really important for a couple of reasons. Number one, if that order has been prepared and it is sitting on the counter, the food is losing heat. One of the biggest problems that people have with food delivery is when they receive their food, the food is cold. So it's really important that you get there as quickly as possible. So if that order is ready, you can get it right into your hot bag so that you can make sure that it doesn't lose as much heat. So make sure that when you get that order and you get that accept button pressed, that you head right to the restaurant to go pick up the order so that you can get it into your hot bag. Once you actually get to the restaurant, a lot of people, they will walk into a restaurant and they will wait for the restaurant employees to acknowledge them. If you've been doing food delivery at all, you know when you walk into some restaurants that the employees at these restaurants in a lot of these places do not even acknowledge you when you are there. This is especially prevalent in fast food restaurants. When you walk in, you're lucky if somebody even looks at you, because they have learned over the last couple of years to just completely ignore people, especially with COVID. They have learned to pretty much ignore people and not pay any attention to what's going on at the counter. So if you go into a restaurant and people are not acknowledging that you're there, make sure that you go in there and you announce yourself so that they know that you're there, so that you will be taken care of. Always be positive, always be polite to the people, but make sure that you get their attention so that you can let them know that you're there to pick up the order. And you also want to ask them how much time that order is going to take to be ready. A lot of times they'll tell you it's almost ready, it'll be a couple seconds, it'll be a couple minutes, but you want to have a much better idea than that. So make sure that you ask them exactly how long it's going to be. If you walk into a restaurant and they tell you that it's going to be, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes before that order is ready, you know that you got to give it up and go find something else, because it is a complete waste of time. If you know that it's only going to be an actual couple minutes, then you understand that it's okay to wait for that order to finish being ready. So make sure that you go to the counter, you get their attention, and you find out exactly how long it's going to be. So me personally, when I get an order and I get to a restaurant, I like to text my customers to let them know I have arrived. A lot of people say that the apps let the people know that they are where you are, and if you're on the way to the restaurant, if you're at the restaurant, you've got the order, so on and so forth. But I'm going to suggest that most people don't really pay attention to this. It's not really that important to them. If you want to stand above and beyond the rest of the people that are out here doing food delivery, when you get to that restaurant, send them a text to let them know that you are there to pick up your order. I also do this when I have order and pays. When I place that order with a restaurant, I will text the customer and let them know that I have placed their order, and I also let them know how long it's going to be until that order is ready for me to pick up, so they know when to expect that food to be delivered to them. Then what I do is when I get that order, I put it right into my hot bag so the food stays warm. I don't care if it's a 2-minute drop that's only a half a mile away. I always put the food in my hot bag because I don't know how long that food has been sitting on the counter, and the quicker you get it into the hot bag, the more likely it is to stay warm. So make sure, no matter how short of a distance that drive is, that you always make sure that you put that food in the hot bag. And then what I do is when I leave the restaurant, I text the customer again and I let them know I am leaving and I am on the way. If I have stacked orders, I also let them know I have more than one delivery. So if they think that it's going to take me longer than it should, that they understand and they know why it is taking me longer. And then the final thing I do is I always text them and say thank you for your tip. And I also ask them to leave me a high rating. And the reason that I do this is we know that a lot of people will only leave ratings when they have something negative to say about you. And the best way to keep your customer satisfaction high is to ask those that normally wouldn't leave you a rating for doing a good job to do so. If you do this, then you will never run into a problem with a low customer satisfaction rating. When you get to your drop-off location and you go out of your car to drop that order, the last thing that I'm going to suggest that you do is when you get up to that door, whether it's an apartment or a house, that you always, with a leave it at the door order, you always try to get the house number or the apartment number in the picture along with your hot bag in the picture, because this documents that you dropped the order off to the customer, and also documents that you had their food in a hot bag. So it lets the customer know that if the food is cold, it is not your fault because you did what you were supposed to. So when you get to the drop off, make sure that you always try to get the house number or the apartment number in the picture with the food in your hot bag, so this documents that you dropped it off to the correct location. I really hope that these tips help you when you're out here doing food delivery, because when you actually hit that accept button, it's very important for you to take the right steps and to do the right things to be successful, even as much as it is when you decide what orders it is that you want to take. Don't forget, I have the metric spreadsheet in my description. Go grab that for yourself if you think that it would be useful. I also have some great other tools down in my description, which are the Beans app and SimplyWise and QuickBooks Self-Employed. There's a video in my description that talks about them, and also I put some blurbs in there about them and see if they might be helpful for you. I'd also like to ask you to like this video and to subscribe to my channel so you can continue to get the great content that I throw out there. I want to leave you with, I hope that you are out there getting the money that you and your family deserve. And with that, I want to say thanks.